everybody, this is Ignacio from 598 Los Angeles. In this video, I want to go over how you can start running your own Facebook ads and targeting your desired audience if you have no prior Facebook ads experience or you've never run any sort of ads and you just don't have a general sense of who is your specific target audience. Before we get started though, I want to invite you all to join my Facebook group. It's called E-Commerce Scaling Secrets. In this group, we're going to learn how you can improve your Facebook ads, scale your campaigns, and overall increase your revenue for your e-commerce site through paid ads. To get started, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new conversion campaign. If you are an e-commerce business, 99% of the time, you're going to be creating conversions campaigns because those are the ones that are focused more so on bringing you the sales. Here, we're going to click conversions and then continue. For this video, we're not going to be doing anything at the campaign level. It's all going to be at the ad set level. We're going to choose our conversion event. I don't have mine set up at the moment, but for you, you will be putting purchase as that is what you're going to be targeting. Then, if we continue going below, your optimization for ad delivery, this will be conversions. And then this is where you start having to put a little bit of thought into it. So for your daily budget, when you are starting off, you likely don't have a general sense of how much you should be spending. It is important to understand that you don't necessarily need to be spending absurd amounts of money to get started, but it is necessary to allocate a certain daily budget to be able to see some sort of results. I did a previous video going over how much you should be spending on your ads, so you can check that out in the description. Also, when you are setting up the daily budget or your budget as a whole for your campaign, you need to understand that you obviously haven't started any campaign before, so you might be a little bit more timid as to how much to spend. Since we're testing out different interests, we're going to go with simply $5 a day per individual ad set and interest. So here we're going to put $5. Then we're going to scroll down. Here you have custom audiences. Custom audiences is mostly for your remarketing campaign. So this is going to be anybody who has landed and done add to carts, has landed on your website, has engaged with your Instagram or Facebook campaigns, or has purchased from your page. But we're assuming here that you haven't started any sort of marketing for your business. You maybe don't have a lot of traction yet, you don't have a lot of engagement, and you don't really have a lot of purchases or add to carts that you can really be retargeting. So we're going to leave this completely blank and we're not going to touch it. And we're going to keep scrolling. We're going to leave the age completely wide open. We're assuming here that you don't have a general notion of who your specific audience might be. Maybe you have purchases from individuals 18 to 24, and then you've also had purchases from people 55 to 65. So your age group is very wide and spread out. We're going to leave this open, and we're also going to do the same with the gender. Then we're going to continue going down, and this is where you start going into your actual interest testing and figuring out how you can identify your perfect demographic. So it's called detailed targeting, and here what you want to do is you need to find different interests that align with the product or service you are offering. So for this video, the example we're going to go with is somebody who sells pens. Pens are very wide open, they're very much a general product. They don't necessarily seem to have one specific niche. But maybe you're selling very specific pens that you're trying to go after specific targets. Maybe you're buying pens or selling pens that are specific to college students. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a list of different interests, and each individual interest is going to go at a different ad set. So since we're selling college level pens, we're going to go for interests that are college students. Let's see if we find something. And we're going to go here, students. So this is going to be our very first ad set. We're going to delete this ad, and we're simply going to name this ad set student. Then we're going to duplicate this. Always put the name of the interest at the ad set name because it makes it a lot easier to be able to manage, understand what ad set is assigned to each individual interest. So here we're going to leave it as is for now, and we're going to look for something else. So we have students as one, and what we can do is very easily just click suggestions, and it will show us different sorts of interests that align and have some sort of similarity to what you already have selected. So here we can go with something like higher education, and we can take out student, and we will simply put higher education as the ad set name. And now we're going to duplicate this once again. We're going to do another one. So we have higher education, and we're going to select that. And we're going to go into suggestions again. So now maybe we'll go into bachelor's degree. It's a little bit more specific than higher education, and we'll go with that. And we're going to continue this process until we have 10 different ad sets with 10 different interests. You don't necessarily need to be running these all at the same time, but you do want to have these set up so that as you start running them and you see the efficiency of how well they are running, you can start either cutting or scaling them. So now we have these ad sets ready. You're going to want to be assigning 3 to 5 different ads to each one, and then you're going to be duplicating them across the board from all the different ad sets. So if we go into the student ad set, we're going to create one ad, and we're simply going to call this example 1. So example 1, we're going to duplicate it twice, once and twice, and then we're going to select all 3 of them, and we're going to duplicate them across all of the existing ads that we have. So you click duplicate, you go here, existing campaigns, and then you go below to the existing ad set and you click add to all. You want to make sure you take out the one that it's coming from because it'll simply duplicate it into the existing ad set. You go there and click duplicate. Obviously, this is assuming you've already created your ads, but for the sake of this video, we're simply going to keep it at bird's eye view. So once you have all of that set up, what you're going to do is you're going to run each individual ad set at $5 a day. You're going to let that run for 7 days, and at that point, once you have let those run for 7 days, you're going to be able to determine which ads are actually working for you and which aren't. If you see that you have one specific ad that is getting multiple purchases or multiple conversions for your product or your company, then you're going to start cutting out the other underperforming ads that aren't getting you any form of sales, and you're only going to be running that specific ad. Then you're going to start replicating and duplicating that product or that ad, and you're going to start making models of it that allow you to be able to replicate what's already working and scale that further. As you start getting more and more sales, you're going to need to start increasing the budget for that specific ad set. So if you have one ad set that has 2 purchases and you start off at $5, you can now scale that up to $10. If you see it continues getting purchased, then you keep adding $5 each time you start seeing more and more purchases. As you start seeing that other ad sets aren't working, that's when you start cutting them and you start turning on the other interests that you have, that you've pre-made. So you have a list that you're ready to push out as soon as you start noticing that some of your ad sets and audiences aren't working. And that's how you're going to start building out your audiences that you can start remarketing to afterwards without genuinely having an idea of who your demographic might be. So I hope that was helpful. I know it's still a little bit confusing at times, and a lot of the things that I can tell you and teach you are things that until you do this on your own and you go and implement these on your own campaigns, they're going to feel a little bit different or a little bit strange and difficult, but I can promise you that it's not something that is impossible to do. It just takes practice, and you need to put the time, and you need to sit down and do it for yourself so you can get a hang of it. So before we wrap up, I want to invite you all to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be posting videos 2 to 3 times a week, just training and producing content that helps you understand Facebook ads a little bit better. It can sometimes seem a little bit overcomplicated, especially if you notice all the YouTube videos and all the courses that people are selling. It can sometimes seem as though it's a lot more difficult than it really is, but I want to make it as simple and as easy to understand as possible. So please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up because I really appreciate to get these videos out to more people. And I will leave you off at that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your year and you have a great start to the new year in 2022. Take care.